You know, it's pretty wild to think about, but over 95% of all animal species on our planet don't even have a backbone. It's just incredible. Earth is absolutely teeming with life in every possible shape and size you can imagine. So the big question is, how on earth do we make sense of it all? Well, today we're going to dive into the really clever system scientists use to organize the entire animal kingdom. It's going to reveal some hidden connections that tie all life together.
I mean, just think about the sheer variety out there. You've got these majestic hunters, right? Like the lion, a total classic vertebrate, just stalking the savanna.
And then, in a completely different world, you have these almost alien-like creatures. This jellyfish, for example, a mysterious predator just pulsing its way through the deep, dark ocean.
Or you've got these delicate invertebrates with wings, like this beautiful butterfly, basically painting the sky with color.
And then you have these powerhouses, these incredibly streamlined swimmers like the tuna, literally built for pure speed out in the open water. The differences are just staggering. But believe it or not, there's actually an order to all of this.
So this really is the big question, isn't it? When you're faced with this unbelievable biodiversity, how do scientists create any sense of order out of what looks like total chaos? Well, the answer is a system, a set of rules for classification. You can think of it like a giant filing cabinet for all of life, where every drawer is a major group and each file inside holds a more specific family of animals.
And that very first drawer in the cabinet, the first and most fundamental split of them all, comes down to one really simple question. Does it have a backbone? It sounds simple, but this one single feature has a huge impact on an animal's size, how it moves, and its entire body plan.
And just like that, this one feature splits the entire animal kingdom into two massive groups: the vertebrates, who have a backbone, and the invertebrates, who don't. It's such a simple distinction, but it's an incredibly powerful place to start. And this is the perfect way to see it. You've got a dog with its internal skeleton, a classic vertebrate, and right next to it, a spider with no backbone whatsoever, a classic invertebrate. One simple difference, but it sends these two animals down completely different evolutionary paths, and that's what leads to the amazing diversity we see today.
Okay, now that we've made that great divide, let's jump into the overwhelming majority, the invertebrates. You heard me right, over 95% of all animal species fall into this category. So, in terms of sheer numbers and variety, they are the true rulers of the planet. Let's meet a few of the main players.
First up, we've got the Cnidaria. These are aquatic predators like the jellyfish we just saw, or sea anemones. Their game plan is pretty simple, but it is incredibly effective. They just kind of wait for prey to bump into their tentacles, which are armed with these special stinging cells that paralyze their next meal. And what's super interesting about them is something called radial symmetry. Basically, their whole body is organized around a central point, exactly like a pizza or a pie. This body plan is the perfect evolutionary solution if you're an animal that doesn't move much, because it lets you sense food or danger coming from any direction at once. Now let's check out a totally different design. Meet the Annelida, also known as the segmented worms. This group includes guys you probably know, like earthworms and leeches. Their key innovation is a body made of repeating segments. Kind of like a train with a bunch of connected cars, it gives them amazing flexibility. And unlike the jellyfish, annelids have bilateral symmetry. What that means is there's only one way you can slice them right down the middle to get two identical mirror image halves. This body plan was a total game changer for evolution. It's what allows you to have a distinct head and a tail, and it enables purposeful movement in one direction. It's the body plan for active hunters and for creatures trying to escape.
Next on our tour, the mollusca. This is a huge and super diverse group of soft-bodied animals. Their big evolutionary trick is a muscular foot, which has been brilliantly adapted for all sorts of things, from the slow, steady crawl of a snail to the powerful jet propulsion of a squid.
And finally, we get to the absolute champions of the invertebrate world, the Arthropoda. Their incredible success comes from a revolutionary design. They have a hard external skeleton, or an exoskeleton, which is like a suit of armor. And they have jointed legs that allow for incredibly complex movement. This winning combo has let them conquer pretty much every habitat on Earth. So here's the bottom line. If you could just randomly pick one animal on planet Earth, chances are it would be an arthropod. Their numbers are just mind-blowing. They are by far the most successful animal group on the planet.
All right, so we've met the spineless majority. Now let's flip over to the other side of that great divide. It's time to explore our own, much smaller branch of the family tree, the vertebrates. We're going to take a look at the 5 major classes.
First up, we have Pisces, the fish.
These animals are the undisputed masters of the aquatic world. They've got streamlined bodies to slice through the water, fins for steering and balance, scales for protection, and of course, gills, that amazing adaptation that lets them pull oxygen right out of the water.
Next, we have the amphibia, the animals that famously live a double life. They usually start out as aquatic tadpoles and then go through this dramatic transformation, metamorphosis, to live on land as adults. A key feature is their thin, moist skin, which is so versatile they can often breathe right through it.
Moving fully onto land, we meet the reptilia. Now, unlike amphibians, reptiles evolved dry, scaly skin that keeps them from drying out. This was the critical adaptation that really unlocked life away from the water's edge. This group has everything from lizards and crocodiles to snakes, which took a whole other evolutionary turn and lost their limbs completely.
And then we take to the skies with class Aves, the birds. Their bodies are just marvels of engineering built for flight. They're covered in feathers that are both lightweight and incredibly strong. Their front limbs evolved into wings, and they developed a light, powerful beak instead of a heavy jaw full of teeth.
But here's a fun twist. Just when you think you've got a rule all figured out, biology loves to throw an exception at you. While most birds are built for the sky, some really famous members of class Aves, like penguins and ostriches, actually lost the ability to fly. It just goes to show you that evolution isn't a one-way street. Adaptations can be lost just as easily as they're gained if the environment calls for it. And finally, we arrive at our home team, our own class, Mammalia. So what is it that unites us with dogs and whales and bats? Well, we feed our young with milk from mammary glands. We have hair covering our skin, and we have external ears. Those are the defining traits of our warm-blooded and incredibly diverse group.
Okay, so let's zoom all the way back out. We started with that one simple split, backbone or no backbone, and from there we followed the branches of the animal kingdom to see how millions of species can be organized into a system that's logical and actually makes sense. It's a really powerful way to see the grand story of life on Earth.
So, there you have it in a nutshell, the basic blueprint of the animal kingdom. You've got that huge divide between the spineless invertebrates and the vertebrates. And then you have the key innovations that define each class, things like gills, metamorphosis, scales, feathers, and milk. This system of classification really does tell the incredible story of life on our planet.
And the big takeaway here is that this system isn't just about putting animals into neat little boxes. It's about revealing the deep evolutionary family tree that connects every single living creature. For instance, did you know that this system is how we figured out that whales are more closely related to hippos than they are to fish? It's those kinds of mind-blowing connections that make this stuff so fascinating. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden connections and amazing stories are still out there, just waiting to be discovered?